Welcome to Mr. Orr's Flipped Classroom for Grammar. This is for grade 9. If this is your first time doing grammar notes for my class, a couple things to keep in mind. First of all, this isn't easy. Get it right out of your head right now. This is not something you should already know or should already understand. Yes, some of it should look familiar, but you have to remember that in many cases, this is the first time you're seeing this kind of content or this content in this level of detail and expectation. Take a lot of notes. Pause the recording, watch the whole thing, play it over again. Make sure you get as much information down as you can so that you can understand as much as possible and bring those questions you still have to class. If you accept that you don't know it all, then it gives you room to grow. This is about progress, not about perfection. Second thing, since this is a flipped classroom, the goal is for you to gather information at home and then come to class, do the practice, and get some feedback from your teacher. Make sure you spend plenty of time on it, but don't put yourself into a bind with all your other homework either. Use your time well and wisely, and then get some guidance. Let's begin. First are definitions. A subject tells who or what the sentence is about, whereas the predicate tells what the subject is or does, or what happens to the subject. The simple subject is the main word or words in the complete subject. Finally, the simple predicate is the verb or verb phrase. When talking about verbs, it's best to remember that there are two main types of verbs: action verbs and linking verbs. Action verbs tell what the subject does. Linking verbs tell what the subject is. How to find? You'll see that there'll be steps every single time we do one of these lessons, and it's important you follow them. If you start skipping steps, you're going to start having problems. First, always find the verb, all parts of it. Because you find one, it doesn't mean you're done. This isn't just about grammar, this is also about life. Just because the first option that comes to mind might be one that seems appealing, doesn't mean that you shouldn't consider other possibilities, even if you end up going back to that first option and choosing that in the first place. Take your time, look for all possibilities, and then make the most informed decision you can. Anyway, back to grammar. When you find the verb, circle the verb. It stands out more. Second step, if you do not find an action verb, look for a linking verb. Most people are more confident finding action verbs. Great. But if you don't find one, there still has to be a verb if it's a complete sentence. So, no action verb, and look for linking verbs. Some common linking verbs are forms of be: is, am, are, was, were, and will be. If those are in a sentence and there's no verbs following them, then all those possibilities there are going to be considered linking verbs. Also, forms of have, such as has, have, or had. Most oftentimes, again, if they're not followed by any other verbs, these are going to be considered linking verbs. Next, you want to find the simple subject. We'll ask who or what followed by the verb. Try to find a one-word answer to this question. If you do, that should be the simple subject. I recommend you underline and label with SS the simple subject when you find it. Do be aware to watch out for objects or prepositions. These can never be the simple subject. Prepositions are words like to, from, for, with, at, of. There are many options in English, but any word that comes after it, noun or pronoun, is not going to be a simple subject. It has to be the object of a preposition. Oh, and finally, don't forget that here and there sentences, the here and there, if it's the first word, can never be your simple subjects. A couple examples. First, silly superstitions sneak into common conversations. So you start by saying, what's the verb? Well, I'm looking for an action verb, and I see the word sneak. That's going to be our verb. So we ask the question, who or what, followed by the verb. In this case, who or what sneaks? Is it silly or superstitions? Well, superstitions sneak. And so that's a simple subject. Silly is just a describing word. It's describing superstitions. And describing words can't be your simple subject. Second example. The end of the story began a new chapter. Same process. The verb is begin. The question is who or what began. Looks like we have two options, the end or story. Well, of those options, the end began a new chapter or the story began a new chapter. Can't be both, so we're going to choose end. The reason why is that story is the object of the preposition of, so story can't be your simple subject. Even if it makes sense to you logically, if it comes after of, or to, or with, or for, or at. Whatever comes after that isn't going to be your simple subject. For additional practice, refer to your packet. You can complete it during class. You can also do some of the practice at home and bring those questions into class for feedback from your teacher. Since I don't believe in luck, I won't tell you good luck on this, but I will say good hunting.